What's going on, guys? What's going on, girls? Sal here, back again. Going to be looking at this Thursday night, Thanksgiving night Showdown slate. Great one between the Saints and the Falcons. I just did another video, kept the same getup on. I got the jersey. I got the suit on top of it. You know, Thanksgiving football, again, that's a little rough and rowdy. You want to be professional at the dinner table with the family a little bit, maybe. You haven't seen them in a while. Get the suit on and get the jersey on a little bit because you're going to be sitting watching football the entire time while stuffing your face with food, and that's how it should be. Right now, if you're wondering why I'm in a different location, obviously home for the holidays, so I'm here at home. I'm going to shoot a little bit, want to make sure I got these videos out. 4 videos in one day, 3 of them down, 1 more to go. I just did the Thanksgiving 3-game slate. I mentioned how I love it because there's so much football on. We got Sunday full game slate. We got a great game Monday night. That video is going to be out as well today. Chiefs and Rams. Then we got the 3-game slate Thursday, then the night game slate, which is incredible, the Showdown slate, and then we get a whole nother Sunday. It's just a great week of football, like 5 big events basically, and then obviously Thanksgiving in general is just incredible. So yeah, I want to look at the Showdown slate. Great game, like I said, 2 high-scoring teams. I put up points and have pretty bad defenses as well. Although the Saints looked decently well this past week. Let me put that volume down right there. Perfect. So yeah, I mentioned check out the Thanksgiving game. If you're looking at this one, check out the Thanksgiving 3-game slate. I'll link that up like right now, and if I don't link it up right now for some reason, just check in my videos. It's literally the last one uploaded. It'll be at the end of this video as well. So I set a strategy, and I'll just mention it, of just stacking this game, right, this Showdown game. Everybody and their mother that's playing, or your cousin, or whoever's saying, hey, let's play a Draftkings game, put $20 into that tournament and try and win it all, and they want to watch it together, they're going to try and stack that first and second game or put a lot of players in those 2 games because they don't want to wait, like literally impatient. That's why when, like, another strategy is you play the Thursday to Monday night slate, you fade the Thursday night slate, you stack the Monday night game if it's good because nobody could wait till Monday night, right? And if the offense is good in that game, you're going to make a lot of money. People are going to be playing the Thursday night games in that situation where those usually are low-scoring games between bad teams because they have to put those teams on a primetime game due to the collective bargaining agreement and CBA. So in this situation, we have a great game at night, and I think it's the highest-scoring game with the most upside. So you can check out that video. You can see what I did there, just looking at like a first-look lineup, talking about some strategies, talking about some of the players. But for a Showdown perspective, it's going to be tough to build a lineup, but it's going to be a fun game to watch. That's why I kind of like stacking them. In the 3-game slate, you get a little less ownership on everything. The ownership's going to be nuts in this one, right? Because it's going to be tough to see where you want to go. You have Drew Brees in the dome. The man's nuts at home in his career. Again, doing it this year. Lock him in for like 20 points at home at the minimum, with the upside of 35 like he did this past week, getting close there with 33.5. The man at home in high total games is just, he's money, right? Another guy who's interesting in high total games is Mohamed Sanu. Whenever it's over a 50-point total, I think the man's averaging 15 or more points, or he's going for 15 or more points. In the majority of those games, it's this situation again. You could see he had a high point total here. He had 12, 17, 20, 15, all high point totals in these 4 games, around 50 or more, and he did it in 3 out of those 4 games. So definitely got to keep an eye on as a cheaper perspective. But let's see where we want to go captain in this slate. We just saw Atlanta lose at the buzzer against Dallas. They looked a little bad on offense on the road. Now they get to go back in a dome. Yes, they're still on the road, but they're used to playing in a dome, right? This isn't a situation where I want to play any defenses. In these, if you've been watching me in these like Showdown slates, I kind of want to make a couple lineups that I think I could win it all with. So going against the grain. In this situation, that would be like saying it's going to be low scoring maybe. I don't think I want to go there. But like a couple weeks ago with Saquon Barkley, 88% owned. Derek Carr a couple weeks before that, or a week before that, 85% on. You fade those guys, you have such a great chance of winning it all because you have a naturally differentiated lineup. I'm not really sure what you can do to do that in this lineup. Maybe fade Drew Brees, which at home is the most dangerous thing I could possibly say in such a high total game, where last time he played, basically on the road against Atlanta, the man went absolutely off. He was the chalk. He went 43.54 in that overtime win. I don't know how you fade him, but I do think Drew Brees will probably be the most owned player in this slate. Because his price is a little bit down. You could fit him in your lineup, right, in the flex spot, and he's just owned at home. He's 30 points at home. Like, how do you pass that up? Again, I'm not saying do it. I don't think I will. Like, I'm going to throw him in there, but I think it's viable. I think Traquan's going to be probably the most owned captain spot because, again, there's going to be a lot more casual players on Thanksgiving night playing this slate, although maybe a lot of people are going to go Black Friday shopping, which, again, makes it even better for you to go in that 3-game slate and stack this slate because a lot of people are going to say, let me stack these first 2 games. I can't watch that last game. I go to Black Friday shopping, something like that. I think there's just a lot of things to take into account, right, that you can have an edge in these types of tournaments and also have fun. Traquan Smith, I think he's going to be the most owned captain because everybody saw what he did and he's just cheap, right? I don't know if I want to go back to the well, or not Tevin Coleman, Traquan. I don't know if I want to go back to the well with him. Yeah, he went off, but like he's gone off before. Just this time he got like the volume, right? Like 13 targets. Like they game planned around him for sure. The other week that he went off, he only had like, what, 3 targets. So it was definitely a different type of going off for him. Like he still got the same type of overall finishing production, 100 yards and a touchdown, but he had 10 more targets. So it's tough not to want to put him in the captain spot and load up because Drew Brees throwing him at home, he could do that right again, right? So just a great spot for the Saints though. Like home against the Eagles, blow them out, and then you get to stay home for Thanksgiving at night against Atlanta. Like don't leave it all. Two decent opponents that you're getting to play at home on a short week. So that's pretty good for them. We got Drew Brees in there, and again, I think fading him could be interesting. Captain spot, though, like I don't think anybody can guard Michael Thomas or Kamara. I said the stat in the last video. Adam Levitan has read off, and I read it off basically, and I know there's going to be a lot of repeat viewers, so I won't read it off again. But Adam Levitan, great guy, good fantasy analyst. Love watching his content and reading his articles. Fully recommend him and his Edge podcast, Solo Pod. It's hilarious, but also good and informative. He said basically what the Falcons have given up. Everybody knows the Falcons stink against the running backs if you've been playing DFS all season or just for part of the season. And, I mean, Adrian Peterson's the only guy who hasn't gone for 20+, and majority of those guys have gone for 25+. It's just interesting how, to me, you don't play Kamara in this situation, which, again, maybe he'll be higher owned than Brees. I just don't see it with the amount of weapons out there, and just more of the public knows Drew Brees, and he's been so good, and he's cheaper. But this is an interesting spot for Mark Ingram as well. He didn't play when Kamara went off, so there's really not much to look at for him against Atlanta. But Atlanta's been giving it up, right? Chubb was only really a rushing running back, and he went for 39, I think, against them on 3 catches. And that's really Mark Ingram's role. A little less, obviously, backfield work with Kamara out there than Chubb's going to get. But I think there's a lot to do in this game, and I think it's going to be high scoring. I think the kickers are in play because I think both can get you 10 points. Since it's high scoring. Defenses aren't in play, but again, if you want to differentiate your lineup and put a defense in there, you're going to have a different lineup. You're going to have a chance to win the whole 250K. This just seems like a slate where everybody's going to split the money unless you leave money on the table in your lineup. Let's see what we could do, though. Again, Traquan Smith just feels like a trap. Like, you go off this much, your ownership is going to probably be more than 50%, and probably a lot of that in the captain spot. I think that's just a great way to fade people, right? But then again, he's not totally known that well, so maybe he won't be that owned. But I think he will be decently owned. 3 kickers here. Tavecchio's going to be out. Now Matt Bryant's back. Don't worry about any of that. Ito Smith's an interesting play at 2,600 because he's still getting some work out there. Probably like really 7 to 12 touches a week. But I don't know if I really want to play him. If he gets in the end zone, though, he's a great play. And again, this is a tournament, so really whatever you can do. Taysom Hill, some people are going to throw him in there. Almost, he threw a decent pass deep, right? Or he threw one good pass and he overthrew, I think, Traquan on another pass. He's going to get some work out there, but you're lucky if he gets a touchdown. That's about all he's going to do, so that's what you're hoping for. And will that really help you? I don't know. Brandon Marshall, interesting to see if he'll play. He'll definitely be a factor out there. There's a lot of guys on the Saints that literally, I mean, Austin Carr, only 2 targets, both red zone targets, though, and he's dirt cheap. I think you have Kirkwood. He had 5 targets, right? And in a high-scoring game, he gets a couple targets. He falls in the end zone. He hits value pretty easy at 1,400, right? At 1,400, this man has to get you, 15 times 3. He has to get you like 4.5 points, and he literally did that this past week pretty easily. Marvin Hall is a guy who's always getting some work in this offense. Literally, like, a deep touchdown is all you need from him. You won if you put him in your captain spot that night because he was dirt cheap at $200. So there's a lot of ways you can go. And there's a ton of great offensive players in this game. So let's say we go Kamara. Can we fit a Kamara and a Julio lineup in here? Because I think those are the 2 guys you want on each side. Yes, you want Michael Thomas, of course. I think Kamara's role in this game is just going to be pretty impressive. And Julio's now getting work everywhere in the field, including the red zone. He's just a monster you can't stop. And he's had really good matchups against Lattimore. I think last time he only went for 90-something, only 90-something yards against them. Yeah, 96 yards. That was one of his worst games. And he gets 5 catches for 96 yards. It's just going to be hard for him to, like, wreck you, right? I would love this game if you could fit both of these guys in, and you can. You would just have to do something like this. Kirkwood, and then you come back and you get yourself some Calvin Ridley. Now, that's one lineup that you could build because you get both quarterbacks in a game where it's probably going to be high scoring. Both quarterbacks are great in domes. Both quarterbacks, the last time they played, both went off. Like, even Matt Ryan went for 43. If they do that anywhere near that again, this is going to be a viable lineup. Because if Matt Ryan's going for 43, you best believe Julio's going to get over 96 yards this time, or at least best that with a touchdown. Kamara, I see him getting the work. You get a pass catcher for the Saints. Probably not the one that you want, but you still get one. And you get Calvin Ridley, who's kind of due at this point, right? Like, he had early touchdown regression right? He had 6 touchdowns first 4 weeks as a rookie, and then he went on a really cold streak. He only has like 1 in like the 7 weeks since then. And I like him in the slot, right? I like him in the slot against P.J. Williams. Everybody's been picking on P.J. Williams. I think he's improved a little bit the last few weeks, especially this past week when Wentz didn't do anything. But again, like this is a quick lineup to build, and it's a good one because you're getting probably 4 of the 5 highest projected players in this lineup. I think Thomas is probably going to be higher projected than maybe Matt Ryan, but maybe not. But possibly. I like this lineup. I mean, that was the first one that I made. I like this lineup. Let's clear it. And let's do another game flow situation, right? Let's say the Saints blow the doors off of Atlanta, right? They just do what they did to the Eagles again. So in that situation, you want Drew Brees. You want Kamara. You throw Ingram in the captain spot to save some type of money. You're going to come down here. Ben Watson's an interesting guy because he doesn't run a lot of routes in this offense, but in games where they have to put up points, they do use him down the seam a little bit. But he only does run like, I think he ran like 18 snaps the past few weeks around there, routes, and that's just not going to get it done, especially when there's so many weapons. Now you got Kirkwood, you got this Carr guy, you got Brandon Marshall. Like there's so many weapons here. Assuming that Brandon Marshall's out, that Kirkwood lineup I like a lot, right? If he's in, I have no idea where the snaps are going to go between him, Carr, Kirkwood, right? So I think it would be more concentrated then towards like a Michael Thomas. But you could build a lineup like this, get the 4 highest projected Saints in this lineup, go super cheap. Like then I don't even know how you do anything after this really. I mean, you can go Hall, and that doesn't really give you much. So this really isn't that viable. I like Sanu though. But again, it's a tournament lineup. I don't think many people are going to have a lineup like this. It gives you a chance to win all the money. It's just probably not the best lineup. That one I did before, I like Kirkwood a lot. Let's say we go a different route here, where we go with the Austin Hooper good game type scenario. I mean, if Austin Hooper does what he does when he catches 10 balls, he's a viable captain, right? 30 points in the captain spot out of Hooper. He didn't have the greatest game, I don't think, last time against New Orleans. Yeah, he had 3 catches, 4 targets. Yeah, but he's been coming alive lately. What does an Austin Hooper captain spot look like if we go then with Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, and now let's say we go heavy on the Falcons. So now you have $9,400 to spend. I don't mind going Breeze, and then you can get Ingram in this lineup. I wish you can get up to Kamara. You can go both running backs. That's a lineup that not people are going to have. You can't go both running backs. You don't have enough money. Never mind. Drew Brees, though, I like in this situation. If Atlanta's going to be crushing, the Saints are going to have to be passing, right? It's just now you can't fit anybody in that position. What we can do, though, Coleman's more expensive than Hooper. Let's keep Hooper in there. I do like getting Coleman in this lineup, though. Fade Julio, which is so scary. But 9,600 now. We can go with Kamara and Ingram. Oh, we can go with Breeze, Kamara, and Ingram. Again, another lineup that I don't hate. Don't love it, though, because if they're smashing, they're probably not using Ingram much. That first lineup I made is the one I like the most so far, right? Like I said, I want to get bang, 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 bang. Like 4 high projected players in my lineup. You're fading Michael Thomas, which is literally playing with fire, especially since he didn't have the greatest game. You can imagine him getting a little more peppered, and he went off last time against Atlanta. Caught all the targets, got all the yards. No touchdown, though, but still went off. But this is just a lineup that we made at first, and I don't hate it. At 7,900, you can get Ridley. You want to differentiate even more? Go down to Hooper, who probably has similar upside now the past couple of weeks, and you're leaving a lot of money on the table. That's very scary, but I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, actually. You can probably do this. Let's see. Can you go Kirkwood here? Can you fit Hooper in there? Yeah, you could fit Hooper. You could fit Coleman. That's another way to differentiate it. You can go that Hooper lineup that we made earlier. I kind of like this because obviously Kirkwood could get you some points, but I'd rather Kirkwood here in the flex spot so that he only has to get you literally like 5 points to hit value. And he's a guy who can get you those 5 points because he's seen multiple targets. He's got you 6 and 6. He's met value the last 2 weeks out there. You get both of these guys. You get basically their top option. I mean, Kamara is obviously not Michael Thomas, but still a top option. And you get Hooper in this spot. And I'm fine with making this exact same lineup and then putting one in that has Coleman in there, right? I like this lineup. I like getting these 4 high projected guys. I like a guy in the captain spot who can get you 2 touchdowns, which is Coleman. He's done it this year. Hooper, who's a guy who's a candidate to get you 10 receptions. We've seen him do it. We've seen him have at least 10 targets. We've seen him get 10 receptions once, almost 3 times this year. And then you bring it back with Kirkwood, who, like I said, 5 points and you're fine right there. I like that type of lineup. I like getting these guys in there. Very risky not playing Thomas. I'm fine fading Ingram. I'm fine fading Traquan, fading the defenses, fading the kickers. I think this is a good way to go for this lineup. I think now that I've looked at this a little bit more, I'm going to go back to that video that I made. Still going to put out the first one I shot. But I'm going to look obviously more into it and see if I can get a better lineup in there where I can maybe get an Austin Hooper, right? I think I got the Dallas tight end Swain to open up some other things. But high scoring game. Last time these quarterbacks went off, I want both of them. I want Julio every single week. I think he has still yet to erupt. The man has yet to erupt, and he's done this. 118, 107, 121, 104, 144. 5 weeks in a row, let me mind you. 62, bad week for him, right? Bad week, 11.2 points, 62 yards. 173, that was probably his erupt week and week 1. He had 169. But he's yet to go for 200. And Julio Jones gets 200 yards in a season, in a game, like every single year. The touchdowns have come, so maybe that's going to regress a little bit for him. But against New Orleans, it's a great matchup to do it again. Julio, there's no way I'm sitting him. I want him over Michael Thomas, although you can get Michael Thomas over Julio if you wanted to go more Saints heavy, of course. Give me Julio, though. Give me Hooper there. I like this lineup. This was a quick one because it kind of all came together. Obviously, there's some other plays you can go sneaker-wise with Watson, with Ito Smith, Taysom Hill if you really want to go there. This lineup is going to depend a lot on if this man plays. If Brandon Marshall plays, I have no idea where to go with it, but I'd probably still go Kirkwood here, even if he plays. He didn't play this week. He only has like 2-3 days to learn the playbook now. If he plays, he might get the Golden Tate treatment and only play on like 15% of the snaps, which again, Kirkwood, if he's playing on those other 80% or I mean, not 80, but other 80% of passing down snaps, I like Kirkwood there, right? I think Breeze is trusting him a little bit more. If he gets you these 6 points, you're happy with it. He falls in the end zone. This lineup is very live to win you some money, especially since you're leaving money on the table here at 2,000. I like it. I think another decent strategy, like we've seen with the game with Ertz and Zeke going off, is to kind of just get the guys who are going to score a ton of points and hope that them scoring a ton of points in the captain spot makes up for the cheap guy that you play who literally might get you 0. So in this situation, that could be Julio at captain, and then we have to kind of go with only 1 or 2 other guys who can go off. And in this game, let's go no quarterbacks. This is a way to differentiate. You have $4K to spend. You got to go really cheap here. And this is the thinking of going really cheap. And I like it because on this slate, you can go really cheap with this guy right here and still have like upside. But you can go cheap here and still have some upside. Let's see if we can just go here and still have upside at 5,300. Hooper's just cheap. And then you can even fit Coleman. Like, it's pretty nuts that you can build a dart throw lineup with a guy who is getting 6 points back-to-back weeks. I think Kirkwood should be in the 2,400 range. I think this is a total misprice on DraftKings' part. You can build a lineup like this. This is a better lineup than I think the one I just showed you, possibly. Because it's all position players. Again, if those 2 quarterbacks go for 30+, these guys are probably going to end up going off. Thomas, Kamara, and Jones can all go for 30+. If Jones is going to go for 30+ in the captain spot, that's a big advantage. And then, obviously, you could put, with $600 left, you could put Kamara in the captain spot. Hooper has value. Coleman has value. You're split up pretty evenly with 3 Saints and 3 Falcons. Just another quick lineup build, and I like it because of Kirkwood. I was going to say that you have to put Marvin Hall in here because he's super cheap, and then you run your luck with the rest of it. But I don't even think you need to do that, right? I mean, you can do that, and you can come up really nowhere, right? 6,200 is not going to get you much. Yeah, I mean, if you could have came up to Matt Ryan, maybe. I don't even think you can come up to Matt Ryan if you go here, 32. Yeah, that's not what I want to do. I mean, you can differentiate lineup, but wow. Yeah, I think this is the route to go. I think the one that I showed earlier with Hooper, if you want to differentiate yourself, I think a lot of people are going to do this. You get the 3 highest projected players in a lineup, and you still get upside with the starting running back, a starting tight end who has been seeing some games where he catches 9 to 10 balls, and then you get a guy who has to score you 4.5 points, and he's scored over 6 in back-to-back weeks. Again, Brandon Marshall, big disclaimer. I think this is a lineup that's very viable and one that I might play. So thank you guys. One thing I will show you, and I've showed it in a couple of my videos, and I swear I'm going to try not to show it as much. I don't like to be salesy, but this is Draft Dashboard. There's a lot of tools here. You can see team news. If you just come here, I was asked to kind of show off this a little bit, and I think it's a good tool, so I wouldn't be showing it off if I thought it was crappy. You get to see injury news, depth charts, so if somebody's out, you can quickly see their depth charts, and you can quickly go over, and you can break it down by position. This is looking at the Monday to Thursday slate, so the Monday to Thursday slate's interesting this week because you get 4 games, which is kind of cool. I think you get that night game. Yeah, no, maybe you don't. Maybe you only get the 3 games. It doesn't seem like it. But yeah, so break it down by position. You can see all their average rushing attempts per game, receptions, or targets per game. You get their snap counts, their touch counts in the offense, all this stuff, which again, I look it up on like Football Outsiders. I use Fantasy Labs. I think they have a lot more information, but this, for the price, I think is good because it's $1 for 30 days and then you can cancel it. You can line up, optimize, you can put players in a watch list. That's what these targets are. You do a lot of things. You guys can check it all out. You can do it for different sports. They have both FanDuel, they have both FanDuel and DraftKings, so you can just go right over to FanDuel if you like playing on FanDuel. If you're watching this, I'm probably DraftKings, but a lot of people play both. You can see all the lineup, all the prices there. So that's just one way, a tool I wanted to show you guys for cheap, for $1. You can test it out, sharpen up, save your time, information, especially with the holidays, and sharpen up some of your DFS tools or usage. So I like this lineup. I think some of these lineups are viable. There's a lot of cool things you could do since you have some value this week, definitely. We'll see what happens with Brandon Marshall. But I appreciate it. If you've watched this far and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button. It should be down there if I'm looking at this camera right, bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Maybe it ends up backwards. I'll have to learn right after watching this which side it is. But appreciate it, guys. Hit that like button if you're this far. That helps the video. Only a couple days that this video is going to be viable once Thanksgiving's over. Basically 3 days. That's all I get out of this video. But I appreciate it, guys. My name's Sal. Best of luck tonight on that Chiefs-Rams. Best of luck on Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving. Suits and jerseys. Peace.